Hi everyone, I am Navtej Singh and this is our group project of OWASP Juice Shop challenges. Thanks to Professor Tanjil for his knowledge and support during this project. So before jumping into the challenge, we first have to set up Juice Shop in VirtualBox and Linux. So in Linux terminal, we have to install Node.js if we don't have. If we have, we can check the version by these commands. So make sure we can install all dependencies and start them. And after that, if everything is fine, so this message will come server listening on port 3000. Then we can go to browser and type localhost or we can run our juice shop. And we have to set up the burp suite too. So make sure everything just catch in the burp suite. We have to write 127.0.0.1 3000 rather than localhost, so we can radar everything or catch everything in burp suite what we are doing in our browser. So here are the some additional things we have to do to set up the local proxy. So now we just jump into our task first, meta geostalking. So this challenge, meta geostalking, we were task like determining the answer to user security question by analyzing a photo they uploaded to a public photo wall, and the goal was to use information extracted from the image metadata to answer the security question and complete a password reset process. In short term, we have to use the image metadata to access that account. So here are these steps we just used. First of all, accessing the photo wall, I just go to the photo wall and see the user upload photos, and then I just downloaded the photo favorite hiking place PNG and saved into the download folders. And after that I just analyze the metadata. So first of all I just make my path in terminal with this command, and then I use exif tool, then image name to access the metadata. So when we use that exif tool, so we can see all these properties of the image and metadata what the image have. So for this metadata, we just use the GPS coordinates. So I just copy these GPS coordinates and paste into the Google Maps. So when we just paste the coordinates in Google Map, we just found the location like Daniel Boone National Forest. And I just copy that park name and pretend like to forget the password for user John and answer that security question. The security question prompt John's favorite hiking place, and I answer with Daniel Boone National Forest Park, which information we just extracted from the photo metadata. So with this we can reset the John's password, and I successfully reset the password by providing a new password and confirm the change. So after that it just give us a success message like we just gain the access. So here we can see that we just log into the John's account. So explanation of vulnerability. So this vulnerability is challenges sensitive data exposure via EXIF metadata, and we can access GPS coordinates, times, step, device informations. So in short words, we can access all information, all metadata what the image have with this tool. So how to fix this vulnerability? First of all, automatically strip metadata. The server should automatically remove all exist web metadata from the image before storing a or displaying them. So we can use this command exif tool -all. So this command will remove all metadata. So second thing, we have to educate the user like don't upload the pictures with metadata. So Users should be informed about the potential risk of sharing image with metadata. So if they know like how this image can be used, so we have to avoid these pictures to upload anywhere. Secure account recovery. Instead of relying solely on static security question, implement more robust recovery mechanism like a multi-factor authentication or dynamic security question that are harder to guess. And in real world scenario, this vulnerability is common in a photo sharing platform and social media website where users frequently upload their images with smartphones. So, like in social media post, user may unknowingly upload photo with the geotags, so which can be exploited for stalking or physical attacks. Corporate security risk, like when employing sharing their photos and workplace, so this sensitive data or location may be used by hackers. So target attacks, malicious actors can collect metadata from public available photos to build a profile of the victim's movement, preferences, and habits, aiding in a social engineering or spear phishing attacks. So example of this attack in a high profile case, a public figure posts a photo online that contained GPS metadata revealing their home address. The image was downloaded and analyzed by attackers who then used the location data for harassment. So what is the conclusion? The meta geostacking challenge is a powerful example of risk of sensitive data exposure via image metadata. So we have to understand the risk of metadata. So we just evaluate the risk or how we can escape from the risk. So after that, we just go to task 2. This is a password strength. So we have to log in into the administrator account without using any SQL injection. So here are the steps. The task was to log in the administrator without altering the password or using SQL injection. This indicates we need to brute force attack to guess the password. First of all, we have to find the admin email ID. So I just go to the photo wall and here I can find the admin's email ID. Then we have to intercepting the login request. Using brute force, I intercept the login request and observe the HTTP post request with following structure. See, when I just try to log in with wrong password, so I have the access the email ID and password in brute force. So I set up the intruder in brute force for a password brute force attack. The password field was selected as attack point. So in Conestoga library, so we have provided the best 105 text file that we just used to payload. So we can search the admin password. Here we just payload that file. So executing the brute force attack. The attack was executing using the payload from the word list, analyzing the response, identify the correct password as admin123 based on the unique response length and successful HTTP status code OK. I mean when password is OK, so this code will come. Otherwise there's a code 401 is coming if password is not in use. So it gives us these passwords so we can take an idea which one is the admin password. So despite many failed attempts, I could finally log in my credential with admin Juice Shop with password admin123. The login was successful and the challenge was marked as complete in Juice Shop interface. So we just tried that different passwords. Then after that, so many attempts, we just find this password is working. And here is the message. So This vulnerability exploited in the challenge broken authentication precisely due to the weak password policy and absence of brute force mitigation. First one, weak password policies like administrator account should be used a common and easily guessed password like here in this case admin123. This violate best practice for password security, making it vulnerable for dictionary attacks. So password should not be common or it should be a strong. And lack of brute force protection. So no rate limiting. There was no restriction of number of login attempts for a single IP address. I mean, there should be a restriction if you login attempts should fail. So I mean, you can log in like 3 times, 4 times, then no account lockout. After multiple failed login attempts, the account was not locked. Account should be locked after unsuccessful attempt of login. And there is a no captcha. The absence of captcha challenge made it easy for automated tools like Burp Suite to attempt many password guesses. So here we can see how to fix the vulnerability. To mitigate this vulnerability, the following steps we can take. Number one, enforce strong password policies. Like password should be a mix of lowercase, uppercase, and characters, and some special characters. And number two, implement brute force protection. Enable rate limiting to strictly number of login attempts per IP address. Use account lockout mechanism to temporarily deactivate the account after a predefined number of failed attempts. And CAPTCHA is must to block automated brute force attack. So MFA is must. Now most of the apps or website used multi-factor authentication and send OTP address to our email or phone, so we can avoid this thing and educate user on a password security. So we have to educate the user so they can make their password strong and take steps to protect their passwords. In real world scenario, like weak password policies and a lack of brute force defense are common issues. Number one, like credential stuffing attacks. Attackers often use credential leaky data breaches to attempt login on other website. If user reuse password across site, this attack can result in mass account takeovers. So brute force attacks on administrator account, like here in this example, we see that how we can attack that admin account with brute force and on weak password. And in 2020, a significant e-commerce platform suffered a large-scale brute force attack. Attackers exploited weak password and absence of rate limiting, resulting in thousands of compromised accounts and a severe data breach. So, how this weak password impact on our security? We never realized it, and we just reused same password in so many sites, but it should be harmful for our security. So this is the conclusion. We have to take care of our password. So task 3 and task 4, my group member should reveal. And at the end, we just go to the project summary. So we just completed every task like force feedback challenge, login admin challenge, weak password challenge. And after that, it just give a scoreboard and meta use tracking challenge. So after completing all the tasks, I returned to the terminal where the following summary message was displayed. On the terminal is displayed this message. It just gives us rating, 3 star, 2 star rating of the challenges. So this output confirmed that all challenges were successfully completed and solution match the expected objectives, demonstrating a comprehensive understanding and effective application of web security testing techniques. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Himanshu Patel. Today I am present cross-site scripting vulnerability challenge in Juice Shop application. The objective was by bypass client-side security and trigger JavaScript alert box confirming a successful access attack. I will outline the steps I took, explain the vulnerability, and discuss ways to prevent accesses in real application. First of all, demonstration of challenge com- completion. User registration and payroll insertion. Register an account with a typical email and password, but alter the email field by adding the accesses payroll. This is a one script which is insert in the input field, inserting the request. Use Burp to insert the registration request. Manually insert the payroll into the email field, forwarding it into the server. The server failed to sanitize this input, storing the code as it was entered. In this, we enter the script instead of the any input field. The second one is trigger the payroll. After registration, I navigated to a part of application where the email was displayed, which is user profile. When the page display the email, the payroll executed question the alter box to appear, confirm the access vulnerability, and the explanation of the vulnerability. After above create After that we create the vulnerability. Reliance on client-side validation. The application rely only on client-side checks for input validation. We are easy for attack to bypass. In this, the input field doesn't do any validation. Server side out oversight. The server did not sanitize or validate the input, allowing harmful data to be stored directly. In this, they doesn't know anything, just they stores whichever user wants enter. Unsafe DOM manipulation. The application uses inner HTML to render the email content, which executes HTML and JavaScript rather than displaying it as a plain text. Filter bypass. The payroll, which is a script, bypass the client side filter and executed when the email was displayed. And after that, prevention measures. There is a server side input validation and output encoding, implementation of content security policy, and avoid using inner HTML for user input. Implement a content security policy, that is a set a CSP header to block in a inline JavaScript execution, limited the impact of any injected script. And after that, avoid using inner HTML for user input. Users safe method line like a text content to display user data, which treat input as a text without executing it. And after that, last one is the real world scenario. Access vulnerability can lead to scenario issue in various settings. Social media. Attackers could inject a script to steal cookies, redirect user, or deface content. E-commerce. They could, after product review, fake links or steal login details. We saw everyone is comment of fake links and feedbacks and so on. Corporate accesses could allow sanitized data and unauthorized access through stolen success stolen. And after that, last one is conclusion. This challenge highlights the importance of security coding practice. Client-side validation allow is insufficient as attackers can bypass it easily. Remember, prevent access requires security input handling, safe output display, and reducing the attack surface. Here is my task is over, and now onwards to the Simran. Okay, thank you.
Now, this is a forged feedback challenge description. Forged feedback. In the forged feedback challenge by OWASP Juice Shop, we are tasked with exploiting a broken access control vulnerability to submit feedback using another user's identity. Creating a user and logging in. I registered a new user account with the email navtej@gmail.com and logged in successfully. And then I sent the code to repeater. Filling out the feeding form, I navigated to the customer feedback section and filled in the following fields. And after that, we have attached the screenshot. Intercepting the feedback request, I enabled the intercept feature in the Burp Suite and clicked the submit button on the feedback form. And then I changed the user ID 22 to 20 and press forward button and turn off the intercept. So it will show the message to our browser. Completing the request and checking the result, I turned off the intercept and checked the feedback section in the browser. The feedback was displayed under the impersonated user identity, user ID 20, confirming the challenge completion, and a success message appeared in the application. Explanation of the vulnerability. The application incorrectly trust the client's provided user ID without verifying it on the server side. By altering the user ID in the intercepted request, I was able to impersonate another user and submit feedback under their name. This vulnerability arises because the server does not enforce proper authorization checks based on the user session or authentication token. How the vulnerability could be fixed. To secure the application against this type of attack, the following measures should be implemented. Server-side authorization checks, remove client-supplied identifiers, implementing role-based access control, API hardening, real-world scenario. This type of vulnerability is common in many web applications and can lead to severe security issues. Social media platforms, e-commerce websites, and banking applications. Conclusion. The Forge Feedback Challenge demonstrated the dangers of broken access control and IDOR vulnerabilities. By manipulating the user ID in the intercepted request, I successfully impersonated another user, highlighting the risks of trusting client-side data. To prevent such attacks, it is crucial to implement robust server-side checks and enforce strict access controls following best practices like server-side validation, removing client-supplied identifiers, and implementing RBAC